Yes, welcome once again. Welcome for today's presentation, and today we are going to look at procurement principles in the public procurement. Previously, we have talked about public procurement, where we say public procurement is the acquisition of goods and services or works by the public or by the public sector organizations or the government. So there are guiding principles when undertaking this procurement. So principles of procurement in public procurement are a set of fundamental guidelines that govern the procurement process in the public sector. So these principles are designed to ensure fairness, transparency, accountability, and value for money in the acquisition of goods, services, or works. While specific principles may vary across jurisdiction, some common principles include so other countries or nationals they have different principles that they set forward, but for today we are going to be limited to South Sudan's uh, public procurement process. And the first principle, that is transparency. So public procurement should be conducted in a transparent manner, where all stakeholders have access to relevant information and can understand the procurement process. So when you are undertaking the procurement process in the public sector, you make information uh, should be known by the public, should be led by public. Any stakeholder who needs access to the information should be given the same, you should have access to this information because you don't want to hide anything. It's not like in the private sector where there is a high level of confidentiality for this information. So transparency helps prevent corruption and ensures fair competition among suppliers. So if you give access to information by to anyone who wants this information, it means that it creates high level of transparency and elements of corruption cannot be seen around you who is performing this task. So fairness and non-discrimination. Public procurement must be fair and non-discriminatory, treating all potential suppliers equally and providing them with a level playing field. So when you're undertaking the public procurement process, when you're undertaking the procurement process in the public sector, you should provide information to every potential supplier. Any interested bidder can apply, not or providing information to a certain group of people and discriminate others from getting that same information because this information may be important for them in making decisions or in making decisions of if submitting their bids or submitting the relevant documents. So you should communicate the same information to all the potential bidders for equality. So this is another guiding principle when you're undertaking the process. So the evaluation and the selection process should also be based on some objective criteria, ensuring equal opportunities for all qualified suppliers. Even when evaluating and selecting the suppliers, the criteria should be the same, not selecting others few for certain or purposes or because you're interested in a particular supplier and you use different evaluation techniques or criteria than the others. Then competition. Oh, another guiding principle is the competition. Public procurement should foster competition among suppliers to promote efficiency, innovation, and value for money. This includes encouraging a sufficient number of suppliers to participate, providing clear and open bidding procedures, and avoiding anti-competitive practices. So, as always, the public procurement process encourages for encourages organizations to use public or open or domestic or open competitive bidding method. So this method alone encourages competition. It enhances competition among suppliers because it allows all interested bidders to participate in the process. So this is another guiding principle that can promote efficiency, and it can increase value for money in the overall process. Then accountability. Accountability is a key principle in public procurement, holding procurement officials responsible for their actions and decisions. This involves ensuring that procurement processes are well documented, decisions are based on objective criteria, and there are mechanisms for oversight over them. So accountability, this is a key in public procurement where it holds you, the procurement officer, responsible for your actions and decisions that you take. When, for example, when you're evaluating the bidders, because there's a set process that is put forward if you're evaluating this bidder. So there should be documents to back that process. So if you also don't produce this this document, it means that you will be accountable of your dealings, of your action that you've done. If there is need of a document, for example, procurement requisition, and you don't take it serious and you don't follow up to process that procurement requisition form to, for the process to go on, it means that you're also accountable for that action of yours. So the accountability part of it means that any anything that you undertaking and when you undertaking a procurement process under the public sector, it means that you're responsible for all your actions and decisions. So you should be guided by the act. What does anything that any decision that you want to take, you should refer to the act. What does the act says? Then you follow what the act says, and you become a free man, or you work under, or what we call you under ethical. You work ethically with high level of integrity and professionalism. And that is what is required of you when you're undertaking these processes. Then another point in integrity and ethics. Business procurement should uphold the highest standards of integrity and ethical conduct. This includes prohibiting bribery, corruption, conflict of interest, and ensuring that procurement officials act in the best interest of the public entity and the public at large. So it means that when you when you start acting under your own interest, your own personal interest, it means that you are not going to follow or or what you are not going to comply with the rules and regulations that are set forward for undertaking this public procurement process. It means that uh, activities of bribery, corruption, and conflict of interest will come in, and this one will challenge your integrity and your ethical behavior. Your level of professionalism will be challenged. So when you are undertaking this principle, you should, when you are undertaking a procurement process under the public procurement, you should you should display high level of integrity and ethical behavior as you follow the code of conduct of the organization that you're working in, or the entity, the company that you're working in. If it's a government or aided company or organization, you should follow the rules and regulations that guide your activity. Another principle is value for money. Public procurement should strive to achieve value for money. Value for money, literally, I explain it as the maximum satisfaction that is derived from consuming a particular product. So the amount of money that is invested in that procurement, it should be achieved after consuming that product, which means obtaining the best possible goods, services, or works at the most favorable terms and conditions. So you obtain some goods or services or works at the favorable terms and conditions. Low cost even is among them. So this involves considering not only the upfront cost but also the long-term cost, quality, sustainability, and overall benefits. So when you're also buying some public goods, you don't look at the one-time cost that you're buying this good. You also look at, in the long term, the cost of maintenance of this good or this product that you're buying. Sustainability. How how much am I going to spend on this good? Operation. If it's a generator, if it's a machine, operational cost, the labor, the expertise that is required for these goods or to run this machine. So this is also causes or dissatisfaction with consuming this particular good. So another point that can guide you when you're undertaking the procurement process is efficiency and effectiveness. Public procurement should be conducted in an efficient and effective manner, optimizing the use of resources and achieving timely delivery of goods or services. This includes streamlining processes, utilizing technology where appropriate, and ensuring that procurement activities align with the organizational objectives and priorities. So when I talk about efficiency, literally I mean doing things right. You always very efficient in terms of expenses, not wastage of resources, wastage of time during delivery of the goods. Then effectiveness, doing the right thing, doing the right thing, or when you're procuring goods, you procure that specific or that particular good that is required. by the procuring entity, not buying goods that will often turn up now to be scrapped because they are not used by the organizations. So this is another guiding principle that can help you when you're undertaking the public procurement process. Compliance with legal and with laws and regulations. Public procurement must adhere to applicable laws, regulations, and policies because compliance ensures that procurement processes are conducted within the legal framework, promoting accountability and preventing misuse of public funds. So the set guiding principles, the procurement process that is put available to be followed by you, the procurement officials, the public procurement officials. It means that you should be compliant with those rules and regulations. This one will create transparency and it can prevent misuse of public funds. And you will also set you free as the procurement official because you have evidence. You have well documented transactions at all stages of your procurement process. So we can also talk about the procurement methods or public procurement methods are the different approaches or procedures used by government and public sector organizations to acquire goods, services, or works from external suppliers. So these methods are designed to promote competition, transparency, and efficiency in the procurement process. So here are some of the commonly used public procurement methods. And number one is open tendering or bidding. This applies to all bidders following a public advertisement or a bid notice in at least one widely read national newspaper. So open tendering or bidding, it's open to all, it applies to all the public and it is used to 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 notify this public about the available procurement or about the available bid. They are notified in at least a, a one widely used read newspaper or radio station or TV station that is available. Then there's another method that is open international. This is used instead of open domestic bidding, where competition will not be effective without foreign bidders, or where foreign bids will increase value for money. So open international, it means that it is open also to international bidders or suppliers who are located in different countries or suppliers who are located in countries that are not in the same with the buyer or the buying organization or the buying or the government or the procuring entity. So under this, it will bring competition because all bidders from different countries around the globe are invited to bid for a particular procurement. Then we have another method is selective tendering. In selective tendering, the procuring entity invites a pre-selected group of suppliers to submit bids or proposals. So the suppliers are chosen based on criteria such as their qualifications, past experience, or expertise. So selective tendering is where as you select a, a specific group of suppliers to submit their proposals. So you write to them to submit their proposals. And the criteria that you use here to select them, you use past performance, their expertise, and competence. And this competence, maybe you have worked with them before. These people might be referred to you by other companies, or you also see them supplying some big companies, and from that you assume that they also supply that company. Then it means also they can supply. They are good. So you can use selective tendering to identify these these kind of suppliers. So this method is often used when a limited number of suppliers are capable of providing the required goods or services. When you assume that there are only a few people who can provide, then you select from those few. Then request for proposals. The request for proposal method is used for more complex projects or services where the procuring entity seeks innovative solution or expertise from suppliers. So the entity provides a detailed description of the requirement and invites suppliers to submit proposals outlining their approach, technical solution, and pricing. So when an organization has a project, a complex project to undertake, and they want to source an external supplier to undertake that project, they will underline they will provide some description of the requirements that they want, and they can invite for suppliers to submit their proposals and outlining how they are going to handle that kind of project or that kind of tender. So this one is mostly used by organizations here in South Sudan or government organization when they want to assess or evaluate how a project has performed, the performance of a project, and to understand the milestone. So this one is capable of bringing out the solutions from the expertise. The consultants who will apply for this tender will refer to the descriptions of the requirements that the entity has outlined. Then he can submit his proposal accordingly. So another method of procurement is request for quotation. Request for quotation is for procuring goods or services with well-defined specifications and when the market is relatively standardized. The procuring entity requests quotes or price offers from potential suppliers, and the contract is usually awarded to the supplier offering the lowest price or best value for money. So request for proposal can be uh, done through using the pre pre shortlisted suppliers or suppliers that you have worked with, you know their potential, then you just outline the requirements and you send them, you request for their price quotes, and you evaluate the feedback. If there are four, then you evaluate the feedback from these four suppliers and you go with the lowest price bidder, or you evaluate the one who gives you the best value, the one who gives you the best terms and conditions. Okay, so that is what we we term as request for quotation. So direct contracting. In certain circumstances, direct contracting may be allowed. This method involves the direct selection of a specific supplier without a competitive bidding process. So direct contracting is typically used when there is only one supplier capable of providing the required goods or services in case of emergency, or when the value of the contract is below a specified threshold. So direct contracting is when you just select a specific supplier and you negotiate the terms and conditions for the for the procurement in question. Or else also you can use it in terms of in some cases of emergency, if you if there is no time, because procurement process needs time, and because you already have your list of suppliers available, then you just have to select one and you kickstart the procurement process from there, or making payments or making orders. Or also you can use direct contracting when the value of the contract that is below the set value to undertake specific procurement method. For example, competitive, open, domestic, open tendering, open international. If the value of the contract does not perform to the specified amount in this method, then you can use direct contracting. Yes. So, what are the stakeholders involved in the procurement, in the public procurement? If I talk about the stakeholders, I mean the people who are interested in the procurement process. So the public procurement process involves several stakeholders who play different roles and have distinct interests throughout the procurement cycle. So here are the key stakeholders in the procurement process. One, we have the user department. The user department is the people who starts the procurement process, because they determine the need. If they determine that there is a need of water, so they are the ones who start that procurement of water by stating the requirement, the specification, the quantity, and the quality. Okay, of the procurement. Then the procurement and disposal unit, that is the procuring department, procurement and disposal unit. That is the procurement department, which is responsible for undertaking the procurement process. So the accounts department, that is the the accounting officer, who is responsible for the finances and confirming funds and the payments. The contracts committee, that is responsible for the procurement process and monitoring the procurement process, approval of the procurement method or procurement requisition forms, or award of the contract, review of the procurement or reports. That is work of the or contracts committee. And also the work of the contracts committee is to create, to form the contract, the evaluation committee. And our next or, or stakeholder is the contract evaluation committee, which is responsible for evaluating the bids submitted and coming up with the best evaluated bid. And they report to the contracts committee if they done with the evaluation. Then the PPDA tribunal. The PPDA tribunal is responsible for for state for setting. The PPDA means the Public Procurement and Disposal Act tribunal. They are responsible for setting up the guidelines, the public procurement guidelines, uh, to guide the procurement process. They are also responsible for making procurement reforms, setting up procurement reforms that can help in providing more transparency and compliance in the procurement process. Yes. So we can also talk about the documents that are used in the procurement process, in the public procurement process. One, we have the procurement requisition. The procurement requisition, this is the procurement form that is used by the user departments when they are making requisitions of these items or this procurement in question, their particular procurements. Then the procurement plan, this is a document that specifies all the procurements that are supposed to be undertaken in a given period, maybe in a year or per month or after 3 months, it depends on the entity. So we also have the inquiries. This is a document that is sent by the buyer inquiring for different kinds of goods or services that they want to know from the buyer, from the sellers or the suppliers. And we have the purchase order. This is a document that is sent by the buyer or detailing the number of items and their specifications. So the purchase order also notifies the seller about the purchase of the goods that are listed in the purchase order. So uh, it confirms the purchase. So delivery note, this is a document that is submitted by the seller to the buyer, confirming the delivery of specified number of goods that are delivered. Then goods received note. These are also this is also a document that is generated by the buyer, showing the number of goods received from the supplier. So the purchase order, the delivery note, and the goods received note should have the same details. So if the purchase order has different quantity and the delivery note has different quantity and goods received note has different quantities, then it means that there is a problem in the supply chain or in the delivery of these goods. So they should be pointed out, ironed out. So another document is the quotations or the proposals. or the bits. Quotations, these are the, the document that is prepared by the seller displaying all the list of goods that might be requested by the buyer with the relevant price tags. Then the order acknowledgement. This is a document also sent by the seller as a reply to the purchase order. So after receiving the purchase order, then the seller or the supplier can send an order acknowledgement that we have acknowledged this, we have received your order and we are working on it, just like that. Then invoice. Invoice, this is a document that is generated by the seller to the buyer requesting for the payment of the goods that have been delivered. We have the goods received note. Goods received note, this is a document. Goods returned note. Goods returned note, this is a document that is generated by the buyer for the goods that are returned. Maybe these goods might be returned due to not confirming with the quality that was specified, due to damages, or what we call oh, factory error. Then last document is the receipt. This is a document that acknowledges the receipt of some payments of goods, and this document is provided by the seller to the buyer. So this marks the end of our presentation for today. So I'll request to end there. I remain your coordinator, Mr. Lomiriga. Thank you.